Hello there, and welcome to my review of 2024. This is my chance to reflect on 2024 by thinking about my top 5 fights of the year. Oh, what a year it's been. There's been so many great people that I've met, so many new places that I've been. I've seen some excellent builds, and created and rebuilt so many new robots. It's been just an absolutely fantastic year. So many wonderful new people. Especially so many young people. It's always amazing to see young people bring along their first robot or their 5th robot or whatever it is and just take part. And sometimes they do okay, other times they absolutely hand your bum to you by ripping your robot to pieces and making you rethink your entire building philosophy. It's been interesting making this video. It's got me thinking about what I enjoyed most about this hobby. These 5 fights weren't about winning, although that is fun. It was about how my robot performed, if it performed how it wanted to, the feel of the event, if my opponent brought their top game, how much I wanted to win the fight, and how much fun we were having in general. So after all these great events, great people, amazing fights, here are my top 5 fights of 2024. Okay, first up in 5th we have Ares vs Ruff vs Jacob. This was a 3-way fight that happened at the Bristol Brick Show in November. We have been so proud of our Bristol setups this year. The Bristol Brick Show and Supersonic were just such a great time. We had about 17 roboteers at one point and the atmosphere was just incredible. The reason I picked this fight was because it felt like a bit of a redemption moment for Ares. In the UK this year there's been a massive rise in nasty spinner robots, and because of this Ares hasn't been faring as well as he used to. So I gave him a bit of attention, made some armour for him, and in this fight I took a good few hits from Ruff and really thought I was in trouble. But I managed to find an opening and take advantage just at the right time. Ruff and Jacob are excellent robots and really lovely people, so hats off to both of them. I love the Bristol Brick Show, and this was a fight that I really was happy to win. Okay, in spot number 4 is Skullduggery vs Beaky. You knew that one of the fights was going to involve the bird, the king of combat himself. This took place at the Black Country Brick Show in April. This was my first time at this event, and it was incredible. Like the Bristol Brick Show and Supersonic, it also raised loads of money for charity, and the organiser Paul is just such a great guy, so I'm very grateful that he invited me. The Black Country Brick Show team actually felt like one big family. It was just such a pleasure to be around them for that weekend. The evening social was just lovely. They're just really lovely people. I'm very happy to say that I'll be doing it again next year. I also loved the fight setup I had there. It was like a drama or dance room, so it had this amazing light rigging which made the fights look awesome. Also, there were so many great roboteers there and the crowd really got into it and were great. There were so many great fights, but why did I choose Skullduggery vs Beaky out of all of them? Well, Serenity, the driver and builder of Skullduggery, is an amazing driver and tactician, and our Hammerbot face-off was a real test of driving skill. There were lots of great little interactions, chases, feints, dodges, advantages gained and lost. It really was everything you'd want from a really good fight. Also, the fight came down to the very last second, and just listen to the crowd. And I might have become a little excited myself.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, at number 3 it's Critter vs Circuit Cube robots. I'm really happy with these fights for so many reasons. They took place at the Great Western Brick Show and the Bristol Brick Show. I've been wanting to go to the Great Western Brick Show for a while, and the fights we had there were with some of the best crowds I've ever seen. I've also been really proud of my Circuit Cube competition. It all started when a child in my class bought me a mini Lego tank that he designed as an end of year present, and I love it. It reminded me of the Circuit Cube set I had, and I started playing with it, and that summer I created the idea of the Circuit Cube competition, and I just love how much the community took it on and ran with it. We had 15 Circuit Cube robots at Steam, and we did the fights after the public left, so all of the crowd were Lego builders and exhibitors, and they were just such a great crowd. Going to the event, I was so proud of Critter. I just knew he was going to do well. which made getting knocked out in his first fight all the more shocking. Hats off to your AD, Nudger is a great robot and you drove it pretty perfectly that fight. So in the time between Steam and Bristol, I rethought Critter, rebuilt the bottom arm pieces and practiced my driving. In the fights in Bristol, he worked like a dream, getting pit after pit after pit. It was just amazing. I've loved the Circuit Cube fights and they've just been so good, so definitely going to keep them going in the future. It's just wonderful. Coming in at number 2, Reno versus Vegas. If you've been following my channel, this won't be a big surprise to you. The 3 fights between Reno and Vegas took place at the Great Western Brick Show in October and were just so brilliant. For those who don't know, I massively recommend you buy Vegas! And this was my conclusion in my Vegas review. As part of that review, I made my own Vegas alt build, Reno, and challenged technicalities to a best of 3 in Steam. We were both massively looking forward to these fights. Because both robots use the same components, it was going to be really close. Technicalities is a great driver and builder, and I knew that he had a lot of stick time with Vegas, whereas this was Reno's first fight. So I didn't really know how it would feel to drive, or if it would even work. The fights were close, full of great driving, jabs, hits to the body and wheels, and the crowd absolutely loved it, and I think they cheered with almost every hit. Also, I think at the end of the first fight, I scored my biggest and probably favourite hit of the year. I'd just taken Vegas' weapon down, and I knew that Technicalities never gives up, so I knew that he'd go for the pit button, so I decided to follow behind him closely and then pin him against the pit button, while my spinner bit into his back frames. And I think this might be my best hit of the year. I absolutely love seeing those pieces fly up in the air, and I watch the crowd's faces go wild with it. I love Vegas as a buyable set and as a robot, and the link to buy it is in the description. These 3 fights were so much fun, and I really just do love fighting with Technicalities. This was just absolutely great. So, after all of this, what was my number 1 fight of the year? Well, this year I've been to community centres, Bristol many times, visited God, travelled to Middle Wallop, learnt piano, slid into a muddy quarry for the Southern Scale Trail, went to Taunton, played football at a birthday party, took on the dark side in the Black Country, did a school fete, and went to some lovely events in Abbot Kerswell. But what is my top fight of the year? At number 1 is Bluetooth versus Thumper, the best out of 3. Yes, when I was first putting this video together, this was my number 1 choice from the start. These fights took place at the June Jeopardy event in Farnborough in June, organised by Disney Block Party Robot League, and Technicalities was there to film and fight. The reason I love these fights so much is that they were so close, so tactical and brutal, and the advantage changed constantly. Disty's a great driver and Thumper's an amazing robot. It was such a good set of fights, and you can see them all with my commentary in my video on my channel. I think the reason this is my number 1 is that going into the last fight of the 3, I really wanted to win, and I know Disty did too. I remember my heart thumping and having such an intense focus for those 3 minutes that I kind of forgot everything else around me. It was just brilliant. So there it is. To everyone in the LEGO community, thank you for making 2024 such an amazing year. I wish you all the very best, and I'm looking forward to more great times in 2025. So from everyone in Team Beaky, look after yourselves, have a great Christmas and a very happy New Year, and I'll see you and your terrifying creations that you've put together over the holidays in 2025. Cheers all!
I can't believe it! I just simply can't believe it! You could buy Vegas with motors or without motors! Ah! Technicalities really has thought of everything!